Do you remember how they first explained space to you? A black background in your school notebook, white dots for stars, a giant sphere for Earth, and a drop of metal, a spaceship. The teacher said, "Space is a vacuum. There's no air, no sound. It's infinitely cold, and a human can survive there only in a spacesuit." And you believed. You imagined Yuri Gagarin launching into orbit, smiling through the window, seeing Earth from afar and saying, "Let's go." You believed humans walked in open space, that Americans landed on the moon. That space was the next great battlefield, and we were the first heroes on the front lines. We accepted the program. We believed everything we were told. In my childhood, I didn't know a single boy who didn't want to become an astronaut. But now, as an adult, you look back and start asking, why has no country ever repeated the moon landing, despite technology advancing 100-fold since? Why do all photos of Earth from space differ in color, shape, and almost always look painted? Why have you never seen raw, continuous footage from liftoff to orbit without cuts? Why are stars invisible in space photos? Why did moon-era suits look like fabric puppets? And why don't today's look any more advanced? Why can no one explain how exactly a spacesuit works in a vacuum? Why don't the thousands of satellites clutter our skies? Why does space feel more like belief than science? They taught us to look up, but no one said, "Look within." And no one explained that what you're seeing isn't space. It's a version of the world, a version of history, a version of existence. What they showed you may not be the truth, but a version of the truth. A story you needed to believe so you wouldn't ask other, more dangerous questions. About space, about Earth, about the edges, about the ceiling, about where you actually are. Sometimes reality isn't hidden, it's just overshadowed by spectacle. When people began getting close to the truth, they were given a myth. Loud, heroic, dazzling. And that myth became space. Let's start with dates, not fantasy, facts. 1955. The U.S. launches Operation Deep Freeze, officially a scientific expedition to Antarctica. In reality, a massive military mission. Heavy equipment, planes, ships, bases and airfields are built on the ice. Antarctica becomes a strategic object. Why such effort? For just ice. At the same time, NASA is quietly being prepared. No one talks of stars yet, but within the U.S. government, early structures are forming, the foundation of the future space program. 1956. Admiral Richard Byrd, commander of Antarctic operations, gives an interview hinting, "Beyond Antarctica lies something greater, a region the size of the United States that will play a strategic role in the future." Those words disappear from the media. He never speaks publicly again. A year later, he dies, under strange circumstances. 1957. Two historic turning points. NASA's initial framework begins, a government-backed project with military ties. Former Nazi scientists, including Werner von Braun, men who worked for the Third Reich, are brought in. They become the fathers of American spaceflight. October 4th. The USSR launches Sputnik 1. The first artificial satellite enters orbit. The world holds its breath. Media focus shifts upward. People gaze at the sky, and no one asks what's happening at the South Pole. Coincidence? 1958. NASA is officially born. The National Aeronautics and Space Administration. Right in the middle of Antarctica-related events. The U.S. government budget now flows skyward. You begin to believe in rockets, the moon, interstellar journeys. You don't see what's blocked below. 1959. The Antarctic Treaty is signed. 12 countries, including the USSR and the USA, suddenly agree. No military bases, no private expeditions, no industrial exploration. The continent is completely sealed off. From this moment on, you're not allowed in. 1961. Yuri Gagarin, the first man in space. A point of no return. Humanity's attention is now permanently directed upward. Space becomes the main stage. People dream of stars, not Earth. You no longer ask, what lies beyond the ice? Now you ask, when are we going to Mars? Every year becomes another step toward illusion. You are gently pulled away from the edge, from reality, from the chance to see it for yourself. NASA is founded in 1958, just 1 year after the Soviet satellite launch under the banner, "We won't fall behind, we'll fly too." But who created it? Werner von Braun, a former Nazi scientist, chief engineer of Hitler's rocket program. He didn't just help, he became NASA's director. A hero of Nazi Germany became the face of American progress. Would you entrust the universe to a man who once built weapons for fascism? NASA is instantly granted unlimited funding. Billions of dollars, thousands of employees, classified facilities, yet no direct evidence of actual space flights. 1969. The Moon. The world watches a black and white image. An astronaut bouncing, a flag flapping. Everyone applauds, but later, questions arise. No original video from the moon, only film of a screen. Source tapes, lost, photos and with no stars, pitch black skies. Why? A flag waving, though there's no wind, no repeat missions. 1969 technology was primitive. Now we have 4K, drones, unmanned crafts, yet no new moon landings. NASA says it's too expensive. But you've already been there, and haven't you? Now imagine, you've built a legend. The people are inspired. You control the image. You no longer need to show truth, only footage. NASA becomes a studio. Writers, designers, actors, editors. You think you're watching space, but you're watching a show. One former NASA employee once said, "We don't lie, we model reality." They don't explore, they illustrate. They create the image you believe in. Meanwhile, Earth remains unexplored. Antarctica is closed. The depths of the ocean are unknown. And every night you look up at the sky, thinking you're part of a great cosmic story. But maybe you're just a spectator. In a theater, where the curtain isn't the sky, but a program installed in your mind. You've seen films where the characters live under a dome, unaware there's another world outside. You thought it was sci-fi, but maybe it's a warning, a clue. Let's just look at facts, the timeline, logic, reason. 1. Rockets don't fly straight up. They curve. Every real launch recording shows the same thing. Rockets veer off in an arc. They don't break through the sky, they bend around it. Like slipping sideways. Not exiting, but avoiding. 2. The sound barrier is real. The space barrier, never felt. Test pilots report intense pressure and shaking when breaking the sound barrier. But astronauts describe entering space like flipping a switch. Smooth, silent, effortless. No physical transition. No threshold crossed because maybe they never crossed it. 3 asteroids never hit from the side, only from above. Strange, isn't it? If Earth is flying through space at 107,000 km/h, why do meteors always fall straight down? Not from the side, not behind, just from directly above, as if falling, not in a vacuum, but from a ceiling. 4. All space programs cooperate. NASA, Roscosmos, CNSA, they're not enemies, they're partners. Just like in Antarctica, no one crosses forbidden zones. No one leaps further. Everyone stays on script. 5. The sky can be faked. In the 1990s, Project Bluebeam was described as a way to project holographic skies visible to millions. If it's possible now, what did we see back then? Stars? Or a program? You can't escape the boundary, and because there is a boundary, you've never seen real stars. You've never touched the moon. You've never felt Earth move. You've never experienced vacuum. Maybe because you're inside, like in a room, like a simulation, like a dome, and everything works until you ask questions. But if you lift your head not with your eyes but with awareness, the dome might crack. You don't have to believe in theories, just think, logically, quietly, like an adult. It takes thousands of people to launch a rocket from Earth. Engineers, controllers, fuel, cooling, timing, an entire complex just to lift off. Now imagine. 1969. The moon. No base, no fuel systems, no cooling platforms. Just a metal box with legs. And they took off, they say. We just pressed a button. No launch pad, no stabilization, no oxygen, just ignition and liftoff. And they rendezvoused with the orbital module, without radar, without ground control, without any second chances. Perfectly. Meanwhile, on Earth, to launch a capsule weighing 3 tons, you need a 250-ton launch platform, cooling systems, clamps. But on the moon? Nothing. Just a box lifting off into vacuum and docking. Perfectly. Could you repeat that today, in 2025, with modern tech? No, because it never happened. It was a story, not a mission, not science. A legend to replace reality. You still think you live on a planet, in a random corner of the infinite universe. But maybe you don't live on Earth. You live inside it. Maybe it's not a sphere or a disk. It's a system, an environment, a simulation, a level, a room, a dream. Look around. Everything is tailored to you. Water held perfectly in place. Gravity never directly measured. Atmosphere right beside vacuum. Without separation. Animals built for this world. Plants generating your air. Colors for your eyes. Stories for your heart. This is not a world, it's a configuration. You didn't just arrive here, you entered as a player, as an observer, as a soul, loaded into a form. Maybe Earth isn't an object, it's a platform, a classroom, a gateway. And how you perceive it depends on the level of your consciousness. You didn't just wake up today, you woke up inside the game. And the deeper you go, the more you realize you're not playing the game, you're writing it. Thank you for staying with me. Thank you for not sleeping. Thank you for feeling. Until next time. And remember, awareness is not a trend, it's the way out.